22 veterans a day commit suicide. It's a really horrifying statistic. And it's even worse if you look at the disabled veterans. They can't get the help they need. They're alone in the world, and unfortunately they try really hard to get the help they need, and then they're turned away often. And luckily we have a lot of veteran-owned organizations such as like the DAV, for example, that helps disabled veterans get what they need, whether it's compensation or housing or mental help, etc. I can't personally fix the problem, but what I can do is maybe help one of them out. So on December 7th of 2019, a gentleman, well, I'm going to say we'll be picking up because it's being filmed on the 6th, but has picked up this computer, and hopefully the reactions, not necessarily reactions good, that's not really important, but hopefully it really helps him out a lot. He has an okay computer, but he needs a huge overhaul. And he was even talking about this is step one of a whole makeover. So I'm really excited. And honestly, when I thought about this project back in September, October, I mean, this computer in all is probably going to cost, if I were to have around $1,200, right? And I didn't really have $1,200 laying around. I mean, I put several $100s in, but sponsors, a huge thanks to my sponsors. So let's get on the list here. Not too up for supplying an HD 15. XZang24158 actually donated the GPU. Instead of selling to me a disc, I said, here, take it. So hopefully I can get back to him. That would be huge. Be Quiet, the straight power 11550 watt and the pure base 500, fantastic products. Personally, I would say get the 650 watt. I think it's a tremendous value. That's just my opinion. But regardless, still good power supply. And the Pure Base 500 is one of the best cases under $100. That's not RGB focused. I mean, this one is because I put RGB fans in it, but fantastic case. Silicon Power supplying the SSD, the NVMe SSD. That's a 512 gig. The P34880, very good SSD. AOC, unfortunately, it's over there right now, but they have the frameless 144 hertz 1080p monitor. Excellent monitor, very well priced. The fact that it supports FreeSync and it is G-Sync compatible, I really appreciate that 100% because that was going to be something that would be hard to track down, and definitely recommend buying that as well. I've seen it advertised to me a lot. And then Ken E and Mario G also donated directly via PayPal to the project as well. Big shout out to them. So the computer's done, and I want to show you kind of how I got there. I had some fun. I made a lot of mistakes. I had to switch boards and couldn't use the front fan for the NHG 15. But let's talk about the specs. So it's the Ryzen 5 2600, ASRock B450 Pro 4 motherboard. That is my go-to budget board. Sure, it's a 6+3, well 6 in parallel plus 3 power phase, but the VRM is fine, and it doesn't get toasty till you run a overclocked 3900X, then it gets a little warm. But anything up to that point is pretty solid. 16 gigs of Corsair Vengeance Pro RGB memory, which unfortunately has its own software. It is what it is. The GTX 1070 by Gigabyte, a 1 terabyte SanDisk SSD I got from Hardware Swap for $70. I paid for that. We got the Silicon Power P34 A80 SSD, the Pure Base 500, the Straight Power 11, 550 watt, I think it's an NHG 15. We have the PC Cooler Halo fans, they're addressable RGB, fantastic there. And I think that's pretty much about it. So that coupled with the monitor, it's the AOC, I can't quite see it from here, but I'll have a link in the description below to buy it. It's a 25-inch frameless monitor. You're looking at around $1,200, and the sponsors kicking as much as they did made this project very possible. So enjoy the ride of me putting it together. It wasn't too bad. I just made a couple stupid errors I didn't really look into prior, but we did get together. It does work. And then I'll bring you back and we'll part ways for the day, and stay tuned for when this gentleman, which I don't want to reveal his name yet, his reaction to receiving this computer. But more importantly, hopefully this means a lot to him. Move everything over. Now, interestingly enough, this actually is a better VRM. Let me explain. So this is, if you see my review on this, this has a total of 6 of these power phases and 3 up here. These have, I think they're doublers on them. They're doublers or they're in parallel. I can't remember off the top of my head. But the thing is this vents off air a lot better than this giant chunk of metal with something blocking it. So if you look at the VRM list, this actually does perform better. They say a mildly clocked like 1700X, 1800X would be fine, whereas this would require a little bit of airflow for that one. So the good news is they're getting a better board. For this processor, it really doesn't matter to be 100% honest, but I was going to go with this one because that RGB, and I mean it physically has RGB. They both support different forms of RGB, but anyway, it looks like though going forward we are going to go with this board. So now we'll get this guy over here. And the cool thing is this is already screwed in where we need it to be on this board. There we go. Perfect. And we're actually going to approach the heatsink and everything a little bit differently on this setup. So I'll show you here. We're going to get the mounting, then we're going to install the board. We'll install the Kohler last. Because once the mounting's on, it's relatively easy. So what we're going to do now is, I'm going to use these, and I'm just going to transfer over these over to the ASUS board here. A few days ago in November, by the time you see this, the person should have hopefully received it with some reactions. But I actually still have to do a performance video follow-up with that drive because I had some feedback and you guys wanted me to do some more testing on it. I have a new player to the game here. I haven't opened it yet. That'll be a video for, well, you guys may actually have already seen that video. Again, this video has to go out sometime in December, but it's like the middle of November when I'm actually shooting it. So do have to apologize, the heat is running, but unfortunately I do need to get this done. And how do I want to do this here? Okay, I'll just take this out here. So why would I be removing the Be Quiet fans? Well, now to get the rear fan here. And we're using these again, the PC Cooler Halo. So these are the fully translucent ones, RGB. And we have these guys there. Do two in the front, one in the rear. That's my standard setup here. I feel like giving these a little bit more air or room to pull air in would actually be better for it. So we are going to go ahead and put this on the inside, which is fine. Okay, that one's done. First thing we want to make sure is we have all the cables we need. So we got our 24 pin. That should be the 4 pin. We have 2 PCI Express, which we do not need for this build. So while we will give this to the winner of the system, we don't need it at the moment. So then let's go and get it installed. So this one's simple. We're going to go ahead and undo these thumb screws. Give it a I love cases that have this. I know it costs a few extra pennies in manufacturing to have a removable piece, but it is definitely nice to have. also going to start planning how we're going to want to route these. With that, we do have an SSD to install here, so let's figure out what screws are probably best for this here. Well, the good news is I didn't screw myself over as nearly bad as I thought I did. Sorry about that. There's one. This way, if he ever gets another SSD, he can just take these two out and put them below, because you guys know, honestly, you only ever need 2 screws, so not really a big deal there. To date, the most difficult I/O shield I've ever installed. And this is why I mentioned I wish everybody would go to an integrated one. You know, I have to ask the question, how much does it really cost them to do it? And the answer is, I don't think very much. A few bucks at most. So, regardless, the cool thing is it's going to use a little bit less screws, a little bit more room to work with, which is not a horrible thing. So after a couple strip screws or standoffs and just not my night. Let me tell you, not my night. So we'll go ahead and get some power cables connected here. Okay. Let's get the other power cables back on here. So we'll route this here. So just to kind of tilt to, see what we're doing here. Pull that through. Go ahead and put this back way back down. Simply going to plug in the 20+4 while supporting under the board. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So let's lay it down this way for a second and start getting some things together here from a connection standpoint. We want to do a 3-to-1 on the fans. So luckily they do give us a connector for that. There we go. And they also give us a, if I can find it right here, a 3-to-1 for the addressable RGB. This is why I like PC Core. They give you everything you need. And then you just control as much as you can with software. Unfortunately, the memory requires its own Corsair software, so food for thought if you're doing a build with Corsair Vengeance Pro. I don't recommend them if you're going for the RGB factor. But that was just me. Perfect. This will route up from the bottom, and the fans we're going to route up top. And see what actually stuck up here. Probably nothing. Oh no, the fan's right here. And we have 2 CPU fan headers. So we're going to put that one in right there. Now it's simply just going to gently lift and pull this up here. Turn this head to see what I'm doing here. So this is the 3-pin. Go plug in right here. This lap is always tricky. You just want to be careful because you don't want to bend any pins either. There, perfect there. So we do have our USB 3 connector that's routed, and all we have to do is bend it this way. Good there. Front panel I/O, we have power switch and power LED. So, oh, they even have it laid out for you. Very nice. But we're only going to do probably do the power LED first because that's a little bit harder to do. And then HD audio in the corner over here. So just to show you here, HD audio one here, the front panel one here, and the USB 3 right there. Oh, this is so nice. So all we have to do, I should probably change angles. It's right there. Very nice. Run SATA power. Also from the bottom. Perfect. So then we're going to just choose a port. I'm going to back it off and perfect. And we can do something like that. Run this all the way through. Now it is cooler time. We have this and the graphics card. Okay, that should be good. So that's going to be the important part. Perfect. And then we'll take the included tool here. Get that started. Get this one started. Now this is definitely overkill for this system, there's no doubt about it, but good. There we go. Okay, hard stop there. See, this is kind of where I was at with this. So unfortunately, we are going to only put one fan on, and we're going to reverse this. So we wanted RGB, and then once we got a motherboard that supported the addressable RGB, then the layout isn't favorable enough because of the tall RAM heatsink. Run this to make sure this reaches. There. Make sure this is level. There we go. Perfect. GTX 1070. Donated by a viewer, actually, which is really nice of them to do that. There we go. And we will start these thumb screws here. This is the part where having bigger hands kind of stinks. Okay. And last but not least, the 8-pin power connector. And that's how you build a mid-range gaming PC for a disabled veteran. So we're done. now I just have to wait to give it to them. And definitely really excited. Like I said, I really hope this goes a long way. I don't expect this video or that video to even surpass 1,000 views. That's not why I did it, right? I did it because I really want to make a difference in somebody's life. Big shout out to my sponsors again, and not to Be Quiet, Silicon Power, AOC, XZeng24158 on the Hardware Swap subreddit. That's AOC, yeah. AOC, and then we have Ken E and Mario G that also directly contributed to it as well. So without my sponsors, this project would not happen. Really, really, really excited. I can't say it again. I'm really excited to give this to a really good home if somebody deserves it. That's pretty much it. I'll put a link to everything used in this video in the description below. Buying it not only helps me out personally with financial gain, it does, I put that back into the business, just so you know, but also it helps out my sponsors, and hopefully next year I can do another project with some of these sponsors. Might be the same, might be different, I don't know, but I really love doing this stuff, so help me out and I can help somebody else out. And as always, this is Steve from Big Head Tech, and I'll see y'all later on down the road.